1 2 1 2. Hi, I'm Simon Kavanagh. I'm Head of Performance Analysis here in Connacht Rugby. I joined Connacht Rugby in 2016, just after they'd won the Pro 12 final. How I found myself in the role, I suppose I'd studied a couple of things in college and I eventually fell into film and television. I played rugby with Corinthians all the way up. I'd been involved with Connacht squads to a lesser degree. Got injured quite young and being involved in film and television, former coaches would have got onto me, asked me to video games, break up games. So that's how I would have started way back with Corinthians when we were dealing in tapes, DVDs and even VHS back at the time.
Team of 3.
So we are in the performance analysis team, we're a team of 3. So we've got Oisin O'Dollig, who joined in 2016 as well as an intern, and his role as an intern developed into a full-time job. We've also got Alan Doonan, who's a young guy from Leitrim. He looks after all the needs of the academy. We aim to provide the coaches and the players with any information they require to prepare better for the next opposition, to review their previous performance. In terms of the opposition, we work a couple of weeks ahead of the coaches, so we pull together all the information we need. We'll have 4 or 5 games, depending on what the coach requires, and then we hand that information over to them early on a Monday. They review it, preview it, pull together what they need to pull together, and then we'll have an opposition preview meeting with the coaches, generally on the Friday, if we're in the Dexcom or if we're away from home. We'll meet in the hotel, and again, we'll start moving on to the next opposition then again. So we're always those 2 weeks ahead and just trying to have as much information ready for the coaches when they need it. With their coaching staff, Pete's a former analyst. All the other guys, in terms of years, they're quite young, but in terms of experience, they have loads, so they don't need any help with the software. What we do try and do is provide them with little nuggets of information that might help them in their area. So the likes of Cully will provide them with a list of props that he could possibly face. Mull will get X amount of lineouts from X amount of games, depending on the opposition. We give Sexto all the launch plays that the opposition would have run against our next opposition, and then the same for Fards. We look at the opposition launches that they might use against us. So we try and leave no stone unturned, but there isn't an awful lot that the coaches don't see. So we're just hopefully there to try and provide them with that bit that they mightn't see. So in terms of match day, we code the game live, so we're basically breaking it down into restarts, lineouts, penalties for, penalties against, and if you ever see on TV, each of the coaches will have a laptop in front of them. So I'm chopping up the information as it comes in. We also get information in from a third party, which is providing us up to the second information on players in terms of carries, turnovers, whatever else. We have a couple of coaches down on the sideline, so if you ever see Cully Tucker on his phone during the game, he's not actually answering WhatsApps, he's looking at scrums that I'm sending down to him, so it gives him that information that he's able to go straight onto the pitch and just provide a fix to any of the players if they need it for the next scrum, for previous scrum, clarify what a penalty was with any of the players. So in terms of training, which is our bread and butter that we do nearly every day, we'll have a meeting in the morning with the coaches about how we're going to film that training session. So we'll have 3 angles on pretty much everything we do. We've got a wide angle from the side, we have a tight angle from the side, and we then fly a drone above. So that's in terms of our 15 on 15, our rotations during training. Then of course we'll have our unit blocks. So for our scrum sessions, we'll have a drone fly right above the scrum. We'll have a camera left and right, and sometimes even more than that. For our lineouts, we'll video both sides of the lineout, so the attack side, the defence side. And then in terms of our backs units, we'll fly a drone really high above us. Different coaches will differ, but Mark Sexton prefers to see everything in a full picture from as high above as he can, to give him the most amount of information to feed back to the players and to try and improve them. So directly after training, we'll knit together that footage. It's provided to the coaches as quickly as possible. We try and have a turnaround inside half an hour. It then goes on to all the player laptops, which are in the player lounge. So you'll see our players get in there nearly straight away. They have their review sessions, and then it goes up onto an online platform as well. So they're able to view it on their phone if they wish at home. They can put together clips that they send to coaches. They can interact with each other. They'll send us clips that they want included in the team meetings. And from the time we started, where I talked about VHS tapes and DVDs, you know, it's worlds apart now in terms of the usability and the interface that the players can interact with to try and get better. So constantly it's us trying to help them to get better and make it as easy as possible for them to get the information that they need to help them improve. So in terms of travel, when I started, we would have sent probably 3 large flight cases with Joyce, who travels a couple of days ahead of us. And what we would have got was one angle. So what we do now is we travel with a kind of a smaller capture box, and it actually gives us 4 feeds. So during a game, we'll have 4 feeds, which is a huge luxury now. We'll have the television feed, we'll have a wide angle, a tight angle, and the angle from behind the goal. So we're getting a lot more information in-game than we would have gotten before. I'll travel to every away game. You know, it's got its pluses and minuses, but it is a job that I do love. So in terms of being with the squad, being around them, you do have to have your down days, you have a bit of fun. The big downside being I was about 3 stone lighter when I started in 2016 because I eat like a pro rugby player, but I don't train like a pro rugby player. And again, you're working with a lot of people who have a common interest. We all get on really, really well. So I think to do this job, if we didn't get on really well, it would be hard, but most of the time this doesn't feel like a job. We're trying to make the team better all the time. But the upsides is the people we get to work with, the players we get to work with, we do have quite a bit of fun. So in terms of memorable nights, we've had loads since I joined in 2016, like even in our first year, that Champions Cup win against Wasps with Jack Carty kicking off the touchline. We've managed to beat all the provinces a couple of times here in my time. We've beaten them away as well, especially that first win up in Ulster and our quarter-final win last year. But probably they all kind of melt into each other, but the biggest memory you'll take is just the Dexcom when it's at full noise on a Friday night or a Saturday night. There isn't really many grounds like it in the world. Like, the atmosphere is incredible, and the support that our fans give us is just immense. It's huge.